Get into overtime. By the way, does your wife like diamonds?
She does, but not overtly. So that's
There's a blessing for you too there.
She's not constantly asking for diamonds. No.
No, my wife doesn't either, but she's never disappointed if there's a Tiffany box at Christmas time. It's like, oh. So, hey, have you ever, you know one of the best things about going shopping at Tiffany's, guys, is walking down the street with a Tiffany bag. People, it's like walking down the street with a bouquet of flowers. People are like, oh, where's he going? They're really curious. I have found the same thing with a Tiffany bag.
Just keep the Tiffany bag, walk around the city once in a while with nothing in it. Hey, yes.
That would make a funny.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Guys, you should try. I have a couple extra. I could borrow to you. Just see what happens. It might inspire you. Yeah. So there's so many things to apply out of this message. But have you had somebody in your life that showed mercy to you? Can you think of a time? I know I'm springing this on you, but I guess I'm curious, what did they do? How did they show mercy that you felt, oh man, I'm glad you showed mercy to me?
Yeah, my wife. All the husbands are like my wife. I think, yeah, my wife for sure. There's been plenty of times where maybe I haven't been as patient with the kids, or I've haven't remember or gotten the best gift that I could for certain occasions.
Did you ever blow it on the gifts?
I think I'm like a last minute person because I look at your eyes. Are you the same?
Let's not go there.
No, let's not go there. Okay. We won't go there. But I do remember, but it's very last minute. And so there's been lots of mercy there. My wife has been like, because that's not my love language. Gift, I don't really think about it too much. So then I forget that others might have that love language. They're waiting for a gift.
So she's been merciful and she's enjoyed the gift and appreciated it despite you bought it at London Drugs the night before.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that would be.
How about you?
Yes, people have shown mercy to me many times. I think we're all here because someone has shown mercy to us. I've had school teachers show mercy to me that I should have received stricter punishment than perhaps I did. They gave me a second chance. So I think teachers, instructors have a lot of opportunity to show mercy, as in the message, Pastor Cheryl talked about the judge who showed mercy. That's one way we can do it. If we have a position of leadership, we can often show mercy by, and I like what Pastor Cheryl said about even parenting works also in other settings where you don't remove the boundaries to have mercy.
That's right.
But you do let them know what the boundaries are and give them another chance. I think that's a good way to show mercy.
Yeah, sometimes with my kids, I've said this out loud because I'm like, okay, I'm going to show them love, and I'm going to remind them that, hey, Abrina or Layla, do you know, I've asked them this question, that Daddy really loves you even when you're bad? And they think about it, they're like, yes. And so trying to get them thinking about God's mercy and love, that he shows us love and mercy even when we don't deserve it.
Right.
And so thinking about when can I show, like when should there be consequences for wrong behavior?
Right.
And when should I correct, but not the consequence doesn't follow if you follow.
I follow.
Yeah. So as parents, I think we have to kind of think about that, is if we're extremely harsh every time, because God does that with us. There's a lot of times there's been consequences, I think, in my life where I haven't experienced the consequence of my action that I could have.
You know, and another way we show mercy, and Pastor Cheryl alluded to this, was the people have quirks in their life or idiosyncrasies. And I think sometimes if you live in an apartment downtown, how many can relate? There's times you have to show mercy to the person who's playing their music too loud, or it's just like, okay, God, I need your mercy right now, because their habits are irritating me. Maybe I'm the only one, but sometimes when you're living in enclosed areas, densified population, there can be little things that kind of irritate you, and you have to remind yourself, I got a few quirks myself, so why am I letting this?
Yeah.
I have to be merciful to them.
Yeah, and I like the idea that, again, we went to the passage that talked about how Jesus intentionally went and sought out
Right.
sinners and tax collectors, where he sat with them and they're like, what is this? Why are you doing this? And then he basically said, this is an example of showing mercy. And I think a lot of times we have to be even aware of how can I show mercy and seek it out rather than just waiting to react mercifully.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, which Pastor Cheryl mentioned, is it's premeditated mercy. And premeditated mercy would be if you had a neighbor, let's say in your building, who was bugging you because of whatever it was. Maybe you didn't like their cat or their dog or their music, or it could be any number of things that just irritate you. Premeditated mercy would be, you know what, I'm going to put on a dinner and I'm going to invite them to my house. And I'm going to put on the nicest dinner. And that's what basically Jesus did. He went there with Matthew, who is now a follower of him, and he invited the worst people there. And Jesus had this event. So I think premeditated mercy is a great way to do it. You get up in the morning thinking, planning, how can I be merciful today? When we were in the Philippines on one of our missions trips, we were driving along, and they had people, like we often do here, somebody asking for something at the window at the stoplight. And I was surprised because they had premeditated mercy. They didn't give them money, but they reached into the glove box and they pulled out some food for them or something that was really helpful for them. And I thought, you thought about that before you left the house. Did they deserve it? No. Did they do anything for them? No. Could they have been an irritant to them? Yes. But I just saw, wow, you love these people. You reached out and you gave them something that was an act of mercy, and you could have called them scum. Instead, you saw them through the eyes of Jesus. And I think you have lots of opportunities on your Eden walks, and it could be anywhere, but you certainly have opportunities there.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we're intentional about it, and that's the whole idea of Eden, is that we live in a neighborhood where we can put ourselves out there and be intentional about our actions, the way that we think of the poor or the marginalized or those that other people might see as dirty scum, or, let's forget them because there's too much work. But what we want to do as Christians, we want to live out our Christian life. And I think that's the most exciting way to live anyways.
Right.
Is if you only love those who love you, then what else?
What
more are you doing?
said,
yeah, and what reward will you get? And so we want to live out the way that Jesus, I think that's one of the most exciting ways.
And one of the things he said, if you love your brethren only, but then he also goes on to say, if you greet your brethren only, what do you do more than others? Do not even tax collectors do so. And so one of the ways you can show mercy in the city is to greet somebody who you don't know. Yeah. That's really strange. Like where I grew up in a little town in southern Alberta, we grew in the country actually, and then we'd go to town. But even if you didn't know somebody, if you're driving your truck, you all did the little flip your finger. Mike, you remember that in the country? Everybody just kind of did a little flip. But you greeted everybody. Yeah. But you come to the city, people don't want to make eye contact with you. It's like, oh, I'm not going to look at that person. And when you smile and you do greet somebody, they just perk right up. You said hi to me on the elevator. It's just like water on a dying plant. Yeah. What did you do? You showed mercy. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. And so I think this week we have a lot of opportunities to put this message into practice, to be merciful to others. And that, I think, my friend, will help make the city a better place. Thanks for joining us for Overtime. So good to have you with us today.